Hi, I'm Nat.
And I'm Guy, and we got Ryan Reynolds wants Disney to commit to an R-rated version of Star Wars, as well as Pedro Pascal, but not too much Pedro because you just did an hour expose on our other channel about him.
Yes, kind of expose. Just things I thought people should know. I mean, I probably should do it in English.
No, it was a full Candace Owens style expose.
No.
It is in Spanish, so if you are a Spanish speaker, you're going to want to check that out. That's on Nat and the Guy in Espanol. It's the live that we just did right before this show.
Yes, that's why we were late. So sorry about that. We're still trying to set up our RUMBLE, the Green Monster, where we moved to after, where we can do the spicy stories we can't do on YouTube because they would censor us. And Rafa, sorry for making you wait 2 minutes more. He gave us a sleeping emoji, but here we are. So yes, Ryan Reynolds, Star Wars.
Okay, do you want to get into Pedro Pascal or Ryan Reynolds first?
We can do Pedro Pascal and his disgustingness.
Okay, it's fresh in your head.
Once more, yes.
Oh, this is the clip that I had for my morning show as well.
Yes.
But he's just really creepy. Like, it's beta male, like simp style stuff. And it's just, yeah.
And that's what, where am I? That's what Hollywood wants to portray nowadays. That's what the last thing I was saying is that they're hailing him as this new empowering form of non-toxic masculinity, and now they want all the leading men to be. And apparently, Pedro Pascal suffers from anxiety and gets nervous, and when he gets nervous, he needs to touch people, especially women, apparently. So this is a great excuse for anybody that's a creep and wants to pretend to be a male feminist. But so here we go, what he actually did. No.
Play it a couple times through.
Don't bring me to tears when I just did.
Standing there, and because I want to focus on this moment right here. So
just play the full thing 3 times.
I had to get it without sound. So he's like trying to grab her arm, then her butt, and then she like pulls his hand down. It's like, no, I'll hold your hand in case you are anxious, I guess.
Yeah, just really strange behavior. It's like a kid with a safety blanket. That's what he's using people around him as. I don't know. He came off in the Mandalorian like he could have been masculine, but man, when you see him in real life, it's like nobody wants to be that.
But Hollywood wants people and men
Hollywood wants
to look up to that.
He's getting canceled, and that's going to be the end of Pedro.
I think maybe, I don't know. Maybe they'll ask me to take down my video on him.
Okay, what did you say about him anyway?
So I went through kind of his family history, the fact that he always is kind of portraying himself as this huge victim because he was a refugee or he was exiled. His family was exiled from Chile during the coup d'etat by Pinochet onto Allende's government in around 1973. So they went to Denmark first. But I talked about the connections, the actual political connections his family had, like from way back when. And in interviews, he always says, like, oh, my family had to leave, and my parents were like college students, and they were studying medicine, and we had to leave, and it was very horrible, and we're refugees. But the story goes much deeper than that. And then his father was essentially exiled back into Chile from the U.S. because he did disgusting things with his.
Maybe we won't talk too much about it right now because I got my morning episode got throttled because I talked about certain subject matters too early in the episode.
Well, because you said SA in the first 5 seconds of the show.
Well, we'll go back to him when we go to RUMBLE to talk more about the CD details. But for now, let's go on to something a little bit more safe, and that's The Last of Us Season 2.
Still about
Mr. Pascal.
Yes. Gross Kyle. So Rotten Tomatoes touts critic score for The Last of Us Season 2 while ignoring the audience rating of 39%. This is from That Park Place. If you don't follow them, go follow them and their channel WDW Pro. But Rotten Tomatoes is highlighting The Last of Us Season 2 as a critical success, announcing this week on X that the show is certified fresh with a 94% rating on the tomato meter based on 238 critic reviews. However, noticeably absent from the post is any mention of the show's significantly lower audience score, currently sitting at 39%.
Not certified fresh.
No, by the actual people that watched it.
Yeah, and it had 3.7 million views across all HBO platforms. The season started at well over 5 million. So it had quite a drop off. Usually the last episode also has extra viewers and things like this. So it's not doing well. They killed Pascal off early in the season, which a lot of fans kind of went against. As much as I don't like the guy, he was the staple of the show. He's what drove people to the show. He hasn't been canceled yet, so he still is somewhat of a star, I guess.
But he is teetering on the edge. I mean, I do see more and more negative. Like, I hadn't seen, maybe because I started doing videos myself about it, but I hadn't seen so many people talking about him negatively
ever
in
since
a while.
The Fantastic Four, it's rumored that that's going to be the cancellation time for him.
Because Marvel, in their grand stupidity, as always, because they're coming from Disney, decided that Mr. Fantastic, which is what Pascal is playing, is now going to be a deconstructed man that understands women and does not try to... So usually in Fantastic Four, I always forget the name of the actual character, but whatever. The bendy one, Mr. Fantastic, is always kind of this player character that needs to learn responsibility and needs to learn how to treat people better. So basically like Iron Man and that whole arc that was all the Iron Man and Avengers movies. They could have done that, but no, they wanted him already deconstructed and a feminist and understanding women and a softer figure. That's what Marvel came out to say about the character.
Well, Pascal came up on progressivism and politics. That's how he made his way to the top of Hollywood, and he virtue signaled his way to the top. The point where he did The Mandalorian, I think he thought it was still going to go the way of progressivism, and there's a shift in the culture. When he did The Mandalorian, he had an opportunity to shift. A lot of conservatives watched that. A lot of conservatives weren't exposed to him at the time. And if he would have strategically left politics out of things he was saying in the media, and he would have picked a couple more masculine roles, he could have made the transition.
The problem is they are giving him the masculine roles. The problem is they want him as what masculine exemplifies, this non-toxic masculinity.
If he would shut his mouth about politics, he might be okay, but I think it's too late now.
Yes, it's definitely too late. And continues to blab and has blabbed for a really long time. Like when I did the research, he's been saying these kinds of stupid stuff since years ago.
Well, it's who he is at this point.
It's who he is at his core.
He's not going to be
family as well.
He's not going to be able to stop even if he wants to. It's kind of like Rachel Zegler, I guess.
Yes, and I think Disney's really scared of him becoming the next Rachel Zegler because now, as I said, like at the very end of the episode I just did, or the show I just did in Spanish, Marvel and Disney are having to do reshoots for Fantastic Four 7 weeks before the damn thing goes onto theaters. So they clearly saw something was going on. I mean, Silver Surfer is now a woman. Another stupid decision.
And she doesn't look like a good-looking woman.
No.
The FX on the female Silver Surfer, it's horrible. The last male Silver Surfer they had, they couldn't even hit that standard. That
was 15 years ago?
Oh, gosh.
When the last ones came out?
Okay, let's keep going through these. We got
also with Chris Evans.
We got quite a bit of pop culture. Let's go into the next one here. And is that Lilo and Stitch?
Yes. So I don't know why this. Oh, finally.
And I didn't agree with all these 5 reasons, but maybe we'll briefly go through them, just the headlines of the 5 reasons.
Yes, so 5 reasons according to Variety, which is essentially an industry publication, which means it's directly linked to Hollywood and the elites. 5 reasons why Lilo and Stitch shattered Memorial Day box office records.
And I agree, it did shatter the box office records. I just don't agree with necessarily why they're saying.
So record-breaking 183 million domestically, so a great win for Disney, and 341 million worldwide. And apparently, let's go into the reasoning. This one?
Yep, just read the
your
ones in print.
Your parents, not your great-grandparents' favorite cartoon. They're making an allusion to Snow White, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
They're alluding to Snow White is what I meant. Stitch never goes out of vogue.
Well, and that's true because in Mexico, the products, the characters, people were dressed to the gills with this thing because they had a previous cartoon about it. People were really invested in it. And it was a diverse crowd in there as well.
Yeah, and he still has quite a strong presence also within the parks, for example, the Disney World, Disneyland parks.
Oh, yeah.
So they still use him. Like Disney was still bringing him kind of at least to the slight forefront. Then the power of PG movies.
And this is huge. This is a 4-quadrant movie, meaning anybody can go to that movie. People will buy a ticket for this movie to go into an R-rated movie, things like that. So it can really oversell itself on tickets. It was also a shorter film than its major competition, which was Mission Impossible
Which was
8,
3 hours.
Which was 3 hours. So it can't make as much because it can't play as many times throughout the day. Okay.
Then healthy competition, so Mission Impossible.
Yeah, and I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because I think it would have been better for either Mission Impossible probably to release the week before when there was no competition.
For them, for Mission Impossible, yeah. And was that it?
No.
Disney regains its magic
And this
touch.
is what I didn't agree with. So this was the specific point I was talking about. They did not regain their magic touch.
No.
They got a kind of a one-off.
It was a blip in the Matrix.
We know what's releasing. It's a bunch of woke garbage they have in the vault. They're trying to desperately do reshoots for Fantastic Four and the rest of these movies because they can read the tea leaves now with Lilo and Stitch.
Also, Rapunzel, which they were going to remake into a live action, because of course they were. I don't know why they shouldn't cast me, but whatever. I do need to go cut my hair. So they were going to do Rapunzel live action, and then the rumors started about who was going to be cast as Rapunzel. And a lot of the fans were saying lots of names, from Sabrina Carpenter, who I think would fit the role pretty well, to, other blonde-haired, blue-eyed actresses, green-eyed, because she has green eyes in the cartoon. But then the rumors started to come out that it was going to be I don't want to sound bad, but like diverse act. So like basically they were going to do the same thing as they did with The Little Mermaid, as they did with Snow White, and they saw that that didn't work at all.
Yeah.
And I think now they were scared, so they pulled, and apparently they're it's a completely paused now. Rapunzel and Tangled, not Rapunzel. The movie's called Tangled, but it's about Rapunzel.
Well, there's a ton of things that are getting paused for Disney right now and rewritten and reshot. They are. Well, they can still, if they can still pull off the magic like they did here, they know if they go into traditional values, they can still make it work.
Or just non-political, like just do it down the middle, down the center.
Yeah.
And I mean, some people.
And Lilo and Stitch was really down the center. It had a little bit of things for liberals, some for conservatives. So both sides kind of hated certain things, but overall, they didn't lean heavy into politics.
Yeah. And I was going to say, like, for example, a lot of the really woke, lefty, progressive crowd were really angry and trying to boycott Lilo and Stitch because the actresses and the cast was not dark enough for their liking, and because it's a movie about colonizers in Hawaii, blah, blah, blah. But then the right, after they went to go see it, giving Disney a chance, were also, like, some people are very mad because in the end, I don't know if I should spoil the ending, but the ending ends with...
Don't spoil the ending.
No, but it ends with differently.
Don't spoil the ending.
It ends differently than the original one. That's all I'm going to say. And gives Nani a different storyline. I'll just put it that way. But... I mean, people were kind of divided, but it's funny that it's the extremes that are the ones that are divided, and the most regular people liked it.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly. We liked it.
And let's go into Ryan Reynolds, another Disney story here.
Yeah, so Ryan Reynolds wants Disney to make R-rated Star Wars project, pitching the idea to Disney, hoping they would gamble on the idea.
Well, and this is not the first time it's been talked about, but I keep saying it. There's 60 scripts written by George Lucas in full. It was him, along with script writers he paid, and he filled out the entire 60 scripts and copyrighted them, everything. They're locked away in the Disney vaults. They decided not to go in the R-rated direction because they wanted mass appeal with kids. They need to reset Star Wars in a desperate way, bringing George Lucas's vision back with a mainstream star like Ryan Reynolds could really turn it around. Ryan Reynolds right now, though, is teetering on the edge of cancellation because of his wife, Blake Lively.
Because now apparently, like, some people are saying that, including Candace Owens, funnily enough, that he might have been the one orchestrating the whole drama that they're both involved in now.
It seemed that way to me after watching all the Candace. Like, man, she loved to dig into that dirt.
And he's also kind of teetering on the edge as well of this, like, new masculinity that Disney and Hollywood want to present, and, like, actual traditional masculinity.
Yeah, but at least he's funny.
Yes, and that's what saves him, and that's what also kind of pulls him away from these, like, super macho men like Rambo and all of them. Like, they were not funny.
Yeah, if they do reset this with Ryan and Reynolds into an R-rated Star Wars, a lot of people are saying there's no comedy in Star Wars. Yeah, but you could look at Guardians of the Galaxy as a way to sprinkle in comedy with a reset of Star Wars
The
for
last
an
ones
R-rated.
were worse, but yeah.
Yeah, so.
The first
Okay.
one was good. Speaking of masculinity, and something I know absolutely nothing about, Fox's Indianapolis 500 debut races to highest viewership since 2008. Sorry, I cannot close this
Yeah,
thing.
and this is just kind of showing the cultural shift in the United States. I would say, how would you say this?
Masculinity.
Midwest sports and things like that are coming back. Race car driving. This was out of vogue for a long time.
Yes.
But we're seeing this, and Brad Pitt's new movie F1. It was the only trailer that looked good when we went to. It played at
Mission Impossible. Yep.
and it looked phenomenal. It looked masculine. It was about race cars. So you're having a lot of things come into the culture about race cars right now. And on top of that, still remember Days of Thunder with Tom Cruise. It was a big race car movie.
Days of Thunder?
Days of Thunder.
Okay.
No, before your
I
time.
don't- okay.
It was phenomenal. It was like Top Gun for race car drivers. But it looks like the Brad Pitt movie might be that. And now we're seeing the surgence of the Indianapolis 500. So I think the Brad Pitt movie would do well.
And I was going to say, with the whole masculinity, bringing back like more male focus centric stuff, we talked about a movie from Angel Studios yesterday, I believe, called The Last Rodeo. And I don't know what the Brad Pitt movie is called. What is it called?
F1.
F1. So the movie Brad Pitt F1, it also seems to be telling the story about this kind of washed up older male that goes back to kind of save the day in some way.
Yeah.
With The Last Rodeo, it's about this cowboy that's going back to bull riding to get money.
For his
I haven't
kid.
seen it for his kid, but the
That's dying-
trailer, this is on the trailer.
That's dying of cancer.
No, that has a brain injury because he fell.
Yeah, he's got cancer of the brain.
Okay. Has brain cancer. And then with F1, it's Brad Pitt, now older, kind of having to come and help this new race
And what was the
car
other
driver. And for example, there were other younger race car driver, looks diverse, but it fits into the story, so it's fine.
And what was the other man's name from Spain? I like him as an
Javier
actor.
Bardem.
Say it again.
Javier Bardem, I can say it in English.
Yeah, so they look like a good pairing, to be honest with you, yeah.
And then the younger kid, again, he was diverse, but that's fine because it goes with the story.
Okay, and we can move into Miley Cyrus now if you want.
You told me this and I did. I don't know why this AMA
No, I didn't
thing-
have a chance to read the story. I did see somebody else talking about it, so I grabbed the headline and I thought we would read it on the show together.
Yes, sorry about this thing. It just won't go away.
Oh, that's fine.
Miley Cyrus got a brutal infection after filming on Hollywood Walk of Fame. My leg began to disintegrate. The singer was shooting for her new film, accompanying her 9th studio album, Something Beautiful. I don't love her without the eyebrows, but other than that, she's been looking
This whole
good.
eyebrow thing is no eyebrow thing
Yes.
is just
because
scary.
they did the giant like bug eyebrows, like the giant caterpillar eyebrows, where they would have just brush them up with soap and stuff, and now they're doing with no eyebrows.
Well, they
again.
always look like serial killers from Silence of the Lambs when they don't have eyebrows. And we were going down the street and there was a big
Billboard,
ad of transgendered without eyebrows that was just and a bald head.
I think it was just a lesbian,
that just looked freaky.
but it looked like.
I don't think so.
But yes,
Okay.
put your eyebrows back on. Don't make them giant. Don't make it Frida Kahlo. Just normal eyebrows, please.
But that's that man repellent they're all about.
Oh
now.
yeah, it's to repel men. Miley Cyrus revealed that she got a brutal infection after rolling around on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Well, I mean, of course, while shooting her upcoming film accompanied that. Grammy winner said that due to her budget for the project, she decided to go to the iconic landmark at night to film, as there would be fewer people around. However, she caught something. I filmed this video in October, and by November, on Thanksgiving, I was put in the ICU for a moment. Because her leg began to disintegrate around the kneecap area. And then the doctor goes, do you have any idea why you have such a brutal infection on your kneecap? And she said, I had to tell him and have to go to the surgeon and look at you and say, yuck. They opened up, well, I can say that. But apparently they look a lot of lots of gross stuff. And then they looked at her knee and it was gross. She admitted that she had a good budget for the film, but spent it all on clothes. So when it came to that time to go to the Walk of Fame, they're like, so what are you going to do? Are you going to rent this thing out or what? Because that's really out of your price range. I'm like, no, we'll just go in the middle of the night. That's something we would do. Have you been to the Walk of Fame in the middle of the night? She has the host in a concerned tone. I thought it was my last day.
Okay, so that makes a lot more sense because when we used to work on movie sets,
So I'm guessing she got scrapped.
When we used to work up in movie sets in Vancouver, they would totally spray down the alleys and spend thousands of dollars cleaning off outdoor sets.
Yeah, especially in Vancouver because it's covered in needles.
So the fact that she was shooting without a permit there makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
But also people are pissing and crapping on the street all over the United States and Canada right now.
But also like in the middle of, I mean, you lived in close to LA for a little bit. I mean, that area is gross as it is.
Yeah. But also I would say the average healthy immune system, she's fairly young, should be able to stand up to it. So I'm wondering if she's taking Ozempic or something like that.
No, she's always been so, like, if she was taking Ozempic, she disappeared like a while ago. So I don't think it's that. But also, like, when you do scrape yourself, like, because she was rolling around, she probably scratched herself, and then, I mean, something from the street and from the sidewalk got into her knee, and it was probably maybe MRSA. I don't know. I'm speculating, but something like that, like flesh-eating disease kind of thing, which of course you would catch. And I mean, rolling around, I wouldn't roll around in the street anywhere.
Well, Mexico is actually a lot more clean than all of the United States. It's an older city, so it looks dirtier. But every time I go walk the dog in the morning or I'm out and about, every single house, every single business is literally cleaning the sidewalk in front of their place.
Yes. And in Vancouver, opposite that, if you've ever been to Vancouver for a little bit, we lived downtown, but then we also lived on Gastown, which is this, I mean, it's a beautiful street, beautiful place, but now it's been...
Other than the human feces.
Yes. So there was poop everywhere, needles everywhere, drug paraphernalia, actual drugs on the street. And every time we would walk the dog, it would be a game of, let's make sure she doesn't get stabbed by a needle. Yeah. Because it had happened to other dogs in dog parks and stuff where they go do that, nobody cleans up, and then the dogs get stabbed by needles.
I used to do some personal training as well, and I had these giant tires and sledgehammers and battle ropes and stuff I would bring out to the park. But it was a artificial turf field, but I would have to check it for needles every time, so nobody got stuck that I was training with. Okay, let's go into. You said you had a clip of this one actually. This was the American Music Awards.
So, I mean, first the story. Oh, hold on. I was trying to load it. So first, the story. Apparently, the American Music Awards branded worst show ever after A-list stars abandoned the ceremony. Desperate J-Lo kisses dancers and Kalani launches political rant. Of course, so Hollywood and the music industry doing what it does. 2025 American Music Awards have been branded a hot mess and the worst show ever after most major stars snubbed this year's ceremony in Las Vegas. Disappointed fans took to social media to complain. Apparently nobody of the big singers were there. The event was hosted by J-Lo, 55, who did her best to single-handedly bring the star power, performing a 6-minute medley of 23 hits by the evening's nominees. But the 55-year-old, she's old. Yeah. She actually looks really good for 55. Instead, sparked criticism over a cringeworthy makeout session with male and female dancers, with viewers calling the display desperate. Definitely.
What I was going to say about this is Hollywood is starting to read the tea leaves, and they're trying to do reshoots. They're trying to put woke movies away in the vaults, and they're trying to go back to a mainstream audience. They already kind of know the music industry just seems to be in their own bubble, and they're not transitioning. You have I think the egos of these singers will not allow them
but they're also running, I think, scared and panicking because of the
AI.
Diddy trial.
Well, Diddy trial, AI, there's a ton of things.
Everything. Bieber.
If he ever decides to speak. Now would be the time for independent artists to really take over that industry.
Tom McDonald. Yeah. Go on. But also at the AMAs, apparently there was something interesting that happened because Shabuzi, who's him, goes viral.
I have no idea who that is.
Me either. My music taste kind of got stuck in 2000.
Mine's are from the 70s with Creedence Clearwater Revival.
And I got stuck with...
crap.
Well, no, Britney was good. All of those were good. Shabuzi goes viral for a reaction to Megan Maroney saying the Carter family, so Beyonce and Jay-Z, invented country music. Apparently this poor lady was actually reading the teleprompter. And the prompter said...
I haven't seen this yet, so...
Said that. I mean, I think the main thing is focusing on his face and what he does. Let me just make sure that we can actually that the audience can hear it. Yes. Okay. Hold on.
And this award went to the Carter family, who basically invented country music.
This year's AMA nominees.
I want to watch it again.
And this award went to the Carter family, who basically invented country music.
This year's AMA nominees.
Did you see his face? He was like,
Yeah.
huh? No. No, they didn't.
I wonder who put that on the teleprompter. Maybe that was supposed to be reversed. I don't know.
Because, I mean, it's not her fault.
But still, you should know what you're going to read before
Yeah,
you read
you
it.
should pre-read before you actually say the things. But, I mean, at least he's not, like, he's acknowledging that that sounds completely insane.
Yeah.
Because there have been a lot of people, even kind of they themselves, starting to claim Beyonce with her new country album that isn't even country and is not good. I don't like I don't like Beyonce.
It's rumored that Jay-Z might have bought her an award for her country album.
Yes, because of course you couldn't win.
Because she invented country music.
Yes. But I mean, at least he had Shabuzi, whoever you are, mister. Thank you for acknowledging the stupidity of whoever wrote that on the prompter. I don't blame
Well, as
whatever.
of right now, I've never
Megan
seen...
Maroney, I don't blame her. But
As of right now, I've never seen Shabuzi, but after that, I kind of like the guy, so I'm hoping that nothing crazy political comes out.
I'm
and
sure something.
I know. He's going to be dressed in drag, messing with the
No,
devil.
I'm sure he's Trump and victims and stuff. Walker says, oh my God, what happened to Miley Cyrus? My sister looked just like her when she was on Hannah Montana. I watch the show sometimes just to remember her, although Miley Cyrus is something else now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And man, her voice just sounds like a man
I
now.
do kind of like her voice, though.
Oh, I do not. I'm glad you
I
do
do
not
love
have
her
that
cover
voice.
of Jolene. And I mean, she's managed to kind of stay, other than her drama with Liam Hemsworth and with marrying and etc. She's managed to stay pretty much, because I mean, her whole identity is rooted in Tennessee, where like it's conservative country, so and country music and the country lifestyle.
but she has guardian
And Dolly Parton.
She has guardian angels with Dolly Parton being her godmother and her father and her mother. Like they're
well,
not
her
going
father
to.
is being weird. Has been really weird lately.
But they're not going to steer her wrong. They're going to watch
mom.
over her career.
Yeah, and right now there was this whole drama with her dad about them wanting to get him to go to recovery. He didn't want to. He married a really young girl. Whatever. Celebrity drama. Walker also says, truly, beyond the fact that I think it's JLo's marketing, I truly believe that wokes are ordinary people who are deeply afraid of being called old for behaviors that one acquires as we age. Well, there's that whole famous saying of if you're not a liberal in your 20s, or if you're not on the left in your 20s, you have no heart, and if you're not a conservative in your 30s, then you have no brains.
Yeah, but that was true. But now within politics, you've had a complete political shift where what conservatives believe now are literally just what the liberals believed in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, like 30 years ago.
And I was watching a clip with Chuck Norris. I almost grabbed it, and he said I was a Democrat for most of my life, but now what the Republicans believe is what the Democrats believe.
Yes, no wars, free speech.
And that's why you see a ton of Democrats within Trump's cabinet and kind of shifting parties, because the values of the Republicans now are what the Democrats used to be. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go into, did you find something? Oh, good, you did.
Yeah, so apparently Mark Ruffalo, the wokest of them all, the most feminized male figure and superhero. Mark Ruffalo's Hulk might be back in the new Spider-Man.
It is. He's going to be back.
Okay, he's going to be back in the new
Going to be
Spider-Man.
ridiculous. Like they're trying to get the movie canceled before it's made. Mark Ruffalo is one of the major Hollywood stars that is always saying political shit out of his ass.
Well, he did the whole Kamala thing.
Yeah.
With, we're going to avenge the U.S., whatever the
It would have been
was.
the perfect time to kind of reset the Hulk to somebody new.
Yes.
But instead of that, they're gonna.
And he's older
put him
too.
in this
Like
movie.
nothing bad with old men, but
And nobody really wants to see him with Spider-Man. It's not a good
and
duo.
Tom Holland, as I said, like yes, he's more like lanky and like funny and young and bleh, and he's marrying Zendaya. But I still I do like him.
Well, but there hasn't been a real.
And he doesn't have to be the superhero manly man, because that's not who Spider-Man is.
Yeah,
and that's
but
fine.
there hasn't been a real Spider-Man movie lately. That's the issue.
have.
No,
They did really good.
no. I'm going to tell
I
you
haven't
why.
seen them,
I'm
but-
going to tell you why. It's because it's not Spider-Man's movie. He's always accompanied with somebody else. You want to see the character go back to
But they
himself.
had that one where there was the 3 Spider-Men. I mean, that one, it was all Spider-Man.
He's always with the
And the most
Avengers. He's always
Spider-Verse
with the
or
Avengers doing
No,
other
but the
things.
last ones where they had all the Spider-Mans come back, like the Tobey Maguire, not Tobey Maguire. What's his name? Toby?
Oh, I don't know. But I would have liked to see a pairing with him and the guy from Mad Max.
The one that did Venom?
Yeah. Because
I think he was in it, wasn't he? I have to watch them.
No, because we were doing the story that
okay.
they were going to put them together, and they were this close to making a deal for that. Also, a lot of fans were clamoring for Daredevil to be matched up with Spider-Man. Now, that being said, there's only a few characters that are going to be able to survive after the Marvel collapse. And that's going to be, and it depends what happens with DC, but you're going to have your Batman, your Superman, and your Spider-Man. Your classic characters.
And if they ever bring back actual Iron Man or actual Thor or actual any of them.
I don't know. Because
actual Captain America, I think, could still do good.
Yeah, but everybody's
Just don't make him diverse.
Everybody's going to be comparing him to their original actors, and it's hard because Hollywood doesn't make good actors anymore. So it's hard to find somebody to replace them.
Yeah, they make them all
And if
women.
you find somebody to replace him that's a big actor, it's probably going to be aged out, much like Brad Pitt in F1. Although I like the guy, you can't keep putting old men in these action roles.
I'm sure there's like other actors that are more manly, more masculine. They're just not being given a chance by Hollywood and the casting agents and whoever is picking them for roles. I'm sure they're there, but right now they're working in a coffee shop with a MAGA hat on, and nobody's going to hire them until Hollywood shifts.
Okay, we can go to the next story here.
Hold on.
Pascal's the new Arnold Schwarzenegger, so I don't know.
So this was a story you actually got wrong, and you corrected it in your morning show. Mm-hmm. But let's also just talk about the event. I'm not going to put music sound on it because it's just the plain sound.
Let's just explain what happened. So Macron was flying into Vietnam, and he was just getting off the plane. The plane door opened, and his wife/husband, whatever you choose to believe, not only smacked him in the face, but shoved him 2 hands in the face. Yeah. He looked over. The camera guy was right there. He reacted quickly, looked like a cartoon character, like, oh shit, I'm caught. And then I'll explain what I thought I seen after, which I was wrong about.
And then I'll say what Macron came out to say and how they're trying to cover it up.
Okay, let's play the clip here.
So there's no sound because it's just the plain sound. So he also kind of looks drunk. Because it's both hands. Oh, oops, hi.
Pause it.
Fucking. You always get me to pause it right before. There.
Okay, I thought this girl had blood on her face, and I thought her shirt was ripped, and it was a bloody shoulder. They enhanced the video here. That's why it looks so good here. But in the original video, it really did look like she had been assaulted.
Like something had happened in that plane. But those are the scarves that the ground crew from Vietnam wear, and they were receiving them. Then there's other photos where you can clearly see it's a scarf. But then the Macrons, or at least Macron's spokesperson, came out to say that they were just decompressing after the flight, and that's how they play with each other, essentially.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And also they came out to say that whole baggy incident in the train, I believe it was, with other presidents. Who was it with?
Keir Starmer and
So he was with Keir Starmer.
The gentleman that's running Germany now.
And the guy that runs Germany. I don't know his name. Or I don't remember his name.
Mertz. I think it's Mertz.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the spokesperson also came out to say that this and that will just fuel conspiracy theories, but that obviously the baggie wasn't that. They were going to go bake cookies, and that this is just them decompressing.
But people were on the train that confirmed otherwise, the reporters that were in the room. So we'll take it as you will.
Yes.
Okay, why don't we go over to RUMBLE Already, yeah, because I'm trying to get things under control because you've been getting us to go to almost 11 some nights.
Yes. People like that.
We do 3 shows a day, so we're going to head over to RUMBO.
Do we have that?
See if
we were
camera.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Oh, it still does.
So we still have one more comment. So Walker says, not the strongest image one can have of France. Indeed. Is France, has it ever been really... Oh, no, hold on.
Under Napoleon, I guess. Little Napoleon.
No, I'm guessing, they were the ones that invented basically the current political liberals, like liberal politics nowadays, and the whole oppressor-oppressed dichotomy. So I blame them for a lot of things, and they also do a lot of disgusting things, and they want to lower the consent age for children.
If any country is going to be overrun by their migrants, they're well organized within that country. There's complete conclaves where police can't go into. We've been showing some stuff like that. So if there is an uprising, they actually made a couple movies about that in France, about migrant uprisings taking over the country. So I would expect to see it if anywhere in Europe, that would be the place.
Walker says they are still a nuclear power, but I mean, maybe they'll shove it up somewhere. That's what they tend to do.
Maybe
that's what they like doing.
I'm not going to say it.
And Walker also says, I think that as far as possible, the woke haven't harmed DC superheroes like Batman much, or am I speaking fallacies? Because Marvel is simply fried. I think they caught a break for a little bit right before the wokeness started with the Dark Knight, like the really gritty ones. Then they tried to go with like more wokeified stuff like Wonder Woman and making it all about female empowerment and then they went on to DC did mess up because they did that whole thing with Will Smith and Margot Robbie. What was it called?
I don't think it's about messing up. I think it's Renegades? About people are burnt out of superhero movies in general.
Yes.
So I think they need a break. Then Hollywood was literally consumed with this for the past 2 decades.
Yeah.
And it was insane.
Just make war movies. But no, DC did mess up. Whatever the one with Margot Robbie was called, that one was horrible.
Okay, let's head over to RU and BLE now. And if our camera goes out, we'll switch to our other cameras. The battery's low on the main one right now.
Yes. So thank you for being here.
And we got like 4 major stories that I could not talk about on Rumble, or sorry, on YouTube.
You can't talk about
they're just too controversial, and they'll throttle us.
So yes, we're going to the Green Monster, same name there. Thank you for being here. If you haven't subscribed to here on YouTube, please do so. We're trying to grow this channel in English. We'll see you over on RUMBLE before this camera dies.
Okay, let me know when we're cut on that one.
You're cut.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't do the clap. I need to find a way